All right. Thank you for having me here today. You'll probably see in your agenda that Andy Stewart should be presenting this. He was unable to make it, so last minute change, I am here. So far I've enjoyed the presentations and look forward to getting to know more of you here. So a little bit about ActiveG. We've been around since 1997. The founder was the first to integrate GIS into IBM Maximo. It was actually before Esri was much of a company. I mean, it was around, but they weren't doing much integration. So we specialize in ArcGIS integration into Maximo. We have other kind of custom integrations to other systems as well that we've supported, but that's what we specialize in. That's our niche. So as you can see, we are a partner with Esri. We're silver partner with Esri, which I understand is partners are changing now, but we'll see what we end up. We also are an IBM business partner. So this is this slide just kind of goes over what we present to our customers. This is how we envision helping them integrate Maximo with GIS. So we have 3 products: PowerSync, Map Engine, and Nash. Just don't think so much about the products, but just the process of first you have to integrate the data, getting the systems in sync with assets or features in both systems that match. And then you can visualize that data. We have a map integrated into Maximo that launches from Maximo, allows you to do the interactions back and forth with live work orders on the map and so forth. And then we have this workflows that's just a no-code workflow creator that helps you build the integration for more transactional data. And that's where we're going to spend a lot of our time today, talking about some of the tools we have and processes we've built. And then we've also helped with just other integrations that people have looked for. So this is something that we kind of show. There's a few steps here in this pyramid. And as you can see down here is the cost. And as you probably all know, it's very time intensive and expensive to get your data right in your systems. You spend a lot of time gathering it and cleaning it and understanding it. And then with the integration, it's almost doubled. You have your work management system. Who here knows what IBM Maximo is? Who here? Okay, so we've got quite a few. It's pretty popular in the industry. So it's enterprise asset management, which is EAM, or work management, sometimes you call it. So getting that integrated is also sometimes a big pain, just getting that working together. Then you have your visualization interaction. That's the mapping part that we talked about. And then there's the automation. So as you go up, it's not as costly, but you have to get the base first before you can do the good stuff. So then we say the value, so now the scale is value. Just getting your data set up has some value. You need it set up. But the real value comes when you have those efficiencies in automation. So as you can see, these are our products here on the left, but there's other ways of doing this. There's Maximo Spatial it's a system within Maximo, but we think ours is better, of course. And then at the top, a lot of you I know, you're familiar with Python scripts. ArcGIS has a great Python library. You can do a lot of things within there, and Maximo has an API, so you can do a lot of custom coding, which again is time-consuming and maintaining it is hard. So that's one reason we built this Nash workflows, which we'll get into. So all of you know Esri Solutions, right? So the workflows, Survey 123, even quick capture or other apps that you can build, custom apps and dashboards. So what we preach is use the best tool for the process. And a lot of times we're seeing that these mobile apps are the best tool instead of a custom or a big Maximo mobile app. Those of you who have Maximo know that there are Maximo mobile apps out there, but they're big and they're clunky, they're hard to configure. To make them specific to a workflow is sometimes difficult or impossible. So what we've helped our customers do is deploy these Esri apps for their field users to do the build apps specific for the use case, and it's easier to use for the customer, it's easier to build and deploy, and then we integrate them into Maximo. So some more Esri solutions. Who here has used one of these pre-built Esri solutions? So a few, yeah. A lot of them are really good. We've, through some of our processes and products, we feel like we've been able to make them even better, added some reporting and dashboards, but again, great resources that Esri helps start out with. So what I'm going to talk about a little bit today is a use case that we did for a customer that was managing leaks. Again, this is just an example. Think of your own processes and what you have field workers doing or people out doing repairs or inspections or other things. There's a lot of application for this. This is just an example we have. So what our customer was doing, a leak would be reported to the operations center. They would log it in Maximo. Someone would get that notification. A water operator would go out, do the validation. They would capture the notes. Then they would come in, input that into Maximo. Then they would have to create a follow-up work order. And then someone else would have to go out, repair the leak, and then put it into Maximo. So that's great. But there wasn't a lot of mapping capability or the users. This process gets hung up a lot of times. Another case that we've found is inspections, where the inspection is performed by one organization and the repair is performed by another. And the communication was just lacking and breaking the system. So what we did, and again, it looks like there's a lot more boxes here, but a lot of it is happening behind the scenes by this Nash Workflows. It's just an automated tool that handles all the data. So that would be reported. They would go with Survey 123 and see it, or field maps, see it on the map or put it on the map with the form already filled out, quick and easy. If there was a necessary work order, Nash would pick up use the business rules that are applied, create the work order automatically in Maximo, and update the dashboard saying this now is in need of repair. And then the managers could see that on a map and know what needs to be repaired and what has been repaired. So then the follow-up work order can be created automatically. They do that repair. They close out the work order. It gets automatically picked up by Nash and updates the dashboard. And so all that back and forth between who's reporting and who's repairing and the managers that are overseeing it all, it's all that communication is happening automatically through the Nash workflows. Again, don't get hung up so much on the product. It's the process that we're trying to automate here. But what we've found is when using the Esri's mobile apps, the customer is more likely to use it, more likely to complete the process and report accurately and timely. So another thing that's nice, and this goes back to Mike's talk earlier about the central team. What was it? Is it central team? Is that what it's called? Okay. Where these mobile apps are easy to deploy, and if you could avoid going through IT or any development process, build an app, build an automated workflow through Nash, and without having to even talk to IT, you have a process in place for the users. They can be up and using it quickly without a lot of barriers. So this is something that our customers have loved. They always dream up new ways to use these tools. Again, like I said, the Survey 123 or field maps, they're getting better and better, easier to configure and develop. So one thing that we found is that our customers specifically like the closed loop, where it can be reported in GIS, it can go through the processing in the Nash workflow, it can be repaired by a user that's logging all that in Maximo, and then reported back to GIS on a dashboard. So that's the next thing I have here. So these are some dashboards we've created based on some of these inspections. This is specifically a catch basin. Like we said, we do a lot of water, wastewater work. So you can see some of these are showing up as overdue. Some of them are completed. I can't really see, but just to get an idea of like what's been done in certain quadrants, we have they block it out by map pages. Even though there's digital maps, I still use the concept of map pages. So anyway, and then here's another one. This is a map page, and you can see all the dots on this map. So this is one that was interesting. For those of you that use Maximo, do you use preventative maintenance, PMs, in Maximo, like to launch work orders? Anyone? No? One? Okay. It's a concept that I think has a lot of value in theory, but it's hard to implement. Well, this customer, what they did was they created a PM, or preventative maintenance item, which on a schedule launches a single work order on a map page. And what that work order says is you need to inspect the ditches and culverts for that map page. Well, there could be 200 ditches and culverts on that map page, but they're creating one work order for it. So what our system does is it picks up that work order on creation, and it goes and queries GIS for the 200 ditches and culverts and creates an inspection point on each of their locations and associates it with that asset, with that feature in GIS, so that they can open up the map and it looks like this, except it'll say all of them need to be inspected. So they, in a minute, it goes from being a PM in Maximo to being a work order in Maximo to being 200 inspection points on their map. So, and now, over a month or so, they're doing their inspections. As they do those, it feeds back to Maximo, and all of the assets that are being inspected get a record as being inspected in Maximo. And so then there's something that checks to say, if all of the assets in that map page have been inspected, mark the work order as complete. And then it's done. It's a process that you can see real time, you can track, you can report on it, and there's been a lot of success from our customers. So now is when I ask you questions. what type of inspections are you doing? What assets in the field are being inspected in your organizations?
Equipment maintenance.
What's that?
Equipment maintenance.
Equipment?
Poles,
What's that?
like poles, transmission towers.
Transmission poles, yeah. So that's one thing. We're actually working on an app for transmission line inspections as well from helicopters. Any pipeline inspections going on? I did a project for a gas distribution company, and I was actually surprised by the amount of leaks that are just there, that aren't necessarily repaired right away, but they're just monitored. How many of you do leak monitoring? Anyone? No? Maybe it was just this organization. They just had leaks that they dealt with. Okay. Well, I'm just trying to get your mind thinking about what processes can benefit from just an integration to either Maximo or whatever system you're using. Because I guarantee you there are processes that are inefficient, where things get stuck either on a desk or in an inbox. And just thinking about how to take advantage of the tools you already have to improve your processes and automate them as much as possible. And with that, I'm done. So we may be a little early today.
Yeah, you are.
Last minute, I didn't know how much time I had.
Any questions?
Yeah?
Does an integration through ActiveG and the Nash workflow solve the problem where Maximo mobile apps aren't necessarily compatible with high accuracy GPS receivers?
So Maximo mobile apps are, they can do what they do. We're just finding that the Maximo mobile apps aren't necessarily good for all the processes, and to try to customize it to work for different processes, it's just not feasible. So what we've said is just use the other tools you have and integrate it into Maximo. The ArcGIS mobile apps already have all the GIS or GPS capability and all that built in. So just use those and you don't have to worry about dealing with the Maximo mobile apps. There's a place for the Maximo mobile. I'm not saying it needs to be done away with, but it's just not as flexible as it needs to be. Is there another question? Okay, I guess I'm done here.
Thank you.